Audio test 1 2 3. Audio test 1 2 3. Okay. Let me know if you can hear the audio. Let me know if the chat's working, if you're online. Let me mute myself here. Hi, Kayla. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. I figured I'd try this live streaming for people who can just post questions, how just general networking with me, with my training company, and also the user group. So it's taking basically a quick break from work and training. So how's Kayla? How's your day going? I think you can hear the Olympics in the background. Now, this morning I was actually working on some grading. I don't know how to do screen sharing on YouTube. I'm currently kind of new to the streaming features on YouTube. And so, yeah, today I'm doing some grading on some townhome projects, just trying to balance the site on the project. And then tonight I got to do a site plan for a multifamily 15-acre development. So I'm going to try to get that wrapped up tonight. So, and I'm also finishing up the edits for my next release of the Expert Elite video. Um, I see some people messaging me about logging in. Yeah, busy bee. Exactly. I was here till about 10 last night, um, working on the video podcast and then working on the event I'm hosting in October. I'm hosting a live event, 2 day live event, like I usually do with the user group. So usually every summer I host a big training event. So I'm going to do it during AU and see if I can get a lot of the Texas design professionals to come to that event. So I'm working the details now with my instructors and getting the topics lined up. And I'm going to be doing it at my office. So, or not my office location. And I don't know if I haven't posted about my event, so hopefully, some of my the clients and people that follow me on LinkedIn, that's where usually my the biggest followers are on LinkedIn, will come and attend. Um, but yeah, I'm kind of excited about it. Last year I did it, but it was more online. We did open it up for people to come watch. Um, but I think because of COVID, I think people were a little bit nervous about it. But we did it. We had a good event. We had some good group of guys from Chris Fugit and Todd Rogers, and a good friend of mine that does Rabbit Joe, um, and from BIM Optimize. And so he was here presenting in our roundtable, discussion roundtable. So we had a good discussion there. It's also on our YouTube channel, the video, that discussion talking about, CAD management and BIM management, a little bit of training, templates and CAD, stuff like that. So typical stuff that a CAD manager would go through. So what project are you working on right now, Kayla? And by the way, our user group is going to have a guest speaker. Todd Rogers is going to be doing some animation and InfoWorks. So our next user group meeting is August 4th during noon. So looking forward to that event and or that network event. So I think Todd is going to do a great job presenting on InfoWorks and animation. So, and I'm getting the next user group event lined up for September, that instructor. So I'll let you know once I get more details about that event. So, and I am giving away a prize. I've got a good little prize lined up for one of our attendees that will win a prize at our next user group. So, and yes, I am a big Star Wars fan. And you can see I got Star Wars all lined up against the windows, the walls. There's actually almost pretty much a Star Wars desk in my corner. I got. um, if you don't know, for social media, I actually use Slack to do some networking. Of course, the user group is on MeWe platform. I like the MeWe platform. I use Microsoft Teams to coordinate with my clients. I sign up for the remote CAD management program, so I use Teams and Zooms. Um, and so I am also testing other products. I like to look at what's out there too. So from Yammer to Band is another company that's kind of like Slack. Discord is another one I kind of play with. There's a company called Around.co. They're kind of a competitor to like Zoom. It's pretty cool the way they do their video conferencing. It's a completely different. You can add filters and stuff. So it's kind of a more hip Zoom calling app. So if you ever used it, it's called Around. So check it out on their website. So it's pretty cool. You can actually have like a campfire Zoom call where you got people just kind of their faces, and it doesn't create a square face for your zooming. It's a circle, and so you got this circle, and you got filters to your face and stuff. So it's a pretty cool little app. I played with it a little bit. I think the only downside is that the resolution is like 720, so it needs to be a little bit higher than that. So, um, the two apps I use the most is LinkedIn and MeWe. After that's probably Twitter, and I'm not on Instagram that much. I mean, last night I posted a few things for the first time in months, so I'm not big on. And no, I'm not on TikTok. I'm not sitting there dancing. So I'm not on TikTok. I think that's more of a the younger hipster kids, the millennials or zennials or quadrennials. So um, the other night I was doing some self training. There's this company called Modumate. I'll put it on the chat. Modumate, and they do 3D modeling. It's kind of a competitor to Revit. So I'm in kind of playing with that software. It's a very user friendly software. I kind of love it. I think it, you know, um, uh, it has a great potential to be a big competitor to Revit. Yeah, it's pretty cool. If you've never seen it or heard it, just go to the website. It's called Mate. So it does wall structures, and it's just so easy to create the doors and the windows and the walls the way it functions. So it reminds me of kind of SketchUp. If you ever use SketchUp, it kind of reminds me of that. Um, and InfraWorks. I think InfraWorks is probably one of the most user-friendly software I ever used, and then probably SketchUp, and then maybe you move on to maybe like Lumion or Twin Motions. So but I think it's pretty cool software. Now I'm not an architect or structural engineer, so when you get into like the details of the walls and stuff, is it completely accurate? That I don't know. Visually, I'm looking at it, just how it functions, and how it looks, and it does do VR. You are able to put it into like a AutoCAD format, and so I don't know if it does plan production. I haven't got that far, so but Modumate's pretty cool. So I took a break from Revit, learning that. I think I spent one day just playing around in Dynamo. Got bored of that. Um, I did spend a few days, the past 4 months, a few months, just kind of playing around with SketchUp. So I do like playing around with other software, just seeing what it does, what its capabilities, how user friendly is it using the product. It's not like 3ds Max. That's pretty difficult, to me using it, and then Civil 3D, and then Revit. I don't know about Maya or Inventor. Inventor is another software I probably have never used. So, um, but anyway, like today I was doing grading, and yesterday just balancing a site. Using feature lines, using grading groups. Grading groups is, like I said, I was telling one of my um, clients yesterday, it's a little sketchy. Sometimes the grading groups want to show up, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I'll just go and delete them all and start fresh from the grading groups and recreate them. You just have to pay attention to the site, what sites you're on with your grading groups, and make sure the styles, when you create the styles, that it is set to be displayed on plan view and also 3D view. So, and I do sometimes like the color. Sometimes if I have time, color, use styles for the feature lines, to make sure I can distinguish between, curbing and walls and buildings and sidewalks. It's more of a visual tool help, when you're grading and you're designing. So, um, somebody, I think at one point asked me why don't you just corridor the parking lot. I think that's more difficult to do. Um, if I have a perfectly flat parking lot, then maybe, but most of my parking lots are not this perfect flat with only like one brake line. No, it's every section is different, and so I think you make the drawing twice to three times bigger. We're doing a corridor, when I can do it with a feature line. So, and that's just my personal opinion. I've seen somebody do it with a corridor, and what happened was that that person ended up leaving the company, or they were out sick, and then somebody else had to jump into the project. They've never done a parking lot corridor, so I had to come in and step in and figure out how to do the edits that the engineer wanted. So it didn't really benefit the company if only like one person knew how to do it in the parking lot or two people. So that's just my opinion. So um, on the corridors or parking lots. So yeah, it is capable if it's something simple. So um, I think I saw somebody make a post about doing corridors for the detention pond. Is it possible? Yeah, I actually played with it one day, one night, and I saw the post on the forums. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. It is possible. It takes some work to get it done and tweaking on some of those sub assemblies and stuff, or you can create kind of your own custom sub assemblies to create some kind of detention pond corridor. Then you can like create that custom one and create your own kind of a tool palette within like section within your tool palettes and bring it in, and that other people can use it in your company. So um, but other things I've seen, or other things I don't kind of deal with is the subassembly composer. I've never had a project where I had to go in there and get that. You have to use that feature tool if I can take care of it in 5 minutes or less with a feature line, I'll do it. I'm not going to spend an hour jacking with the subassembly composer, for one little area on a corridor or something. And that's on my opinion. I look at time and how much time is it going to cost me to that subassembly composer and get it working correctly. Um, when I can easily hand it with maybe a feature line, and I'm one and done, and I got to move on. So. Um, but if it's something that I could use over and over consistently, then yeah, maybe it is, a good idea to create that subassembly composer section tool. So I remember actually taking the class 5 years ago, the first subassembly composer, and I was like so lost. I was in there and I forgot who was teaching it. And I literally felt lost. That was the first time I ever felt lost in taking a class, and it was new at the time. It was pretty new, and I'm like, "What?" And so I'm watching this huge class, and I took the class in AU. I usually don't take many. I usually don't hardly take classes at AU. I go to network, and if it's something super advanced that I have never seen, I'll go take it. I'll look at the description. So, but I think it was. Oh man, what was her name? Um, I should know her name. She's an expert lead. She's a PE. Um, um, Let me go see if I can find it. But she teaches the class. She's really good at it. Um, and but that was literally the first time I felt lost. Yes, Katie. Yes, Katie. Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it was about man, it was I think it was my very first time. No, yeah, my first time going to AU, and that was 26, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 or 10, 2009 or 10. I want to say 10. And 10. I think Civil Assembly was Composer was out because AutoCAD Civil 3 2010 is when they introduced the ribbon. So it had to be 12. Take that back. It had to be 12. So, but yeah, Katie was teaching the class, and I was like, what? And yeah, that was confusing to me. It could have been simple to somebody else, but I looked at the other person next to me. They were confused just as much as I was. And so, um, uh, the way I judge things is if yes, because the tool is there, how long is it going to take me to build that piece to work versus the workaround? If I can do the workaround in 2 minutes versus spending 30 minutes creating some kind of using some tool to make it work. That's how I look at things. Like I'll rather spend the 2 minutes and do a quick workaround. So, and that's just my personal opinion on it. Everyone's going to have their opinion on that. So, um, so, but yeah, subassembly composer. That's something I'm not that strong in. I've dabbled with it. Um, Somebody, when I was teaching class, when I go to tool palettes and go to see shoot all the assemblies, um, some people, I think they get a little nervous when they see all those sub-assemblies and like, man, do I have to use all these? Like, no, you'll never use all of those sub-assemblies. There's so many of them, you know. So I would say, well, don't get overwhelmed by all these assemblies because most likely you'll probably use just 20 to 30% of them. So um, and so I mean, even to this day, there's probably several in there I've never ever touched. Because I never had to use those on that particular project or the projects I work on. So uh, but doesn't mean I want to go train myself. I do want to see how that, that particular subassembly works. Just the other day, I was creating a drawing with all the assemblies, and I'm going to teach a class about as many as I can. I'm actually going to try to do a class on it. So, um, but another one, I'm not strong on Dynamo. I just don't want to spend an hour trying to create something where, like I said, and if I can do a workaround for it in a couple seconds or a minute. So, but I do see the benefits of it if it's something you can use over and over in all your projects. And I think that's the goal is you use the subassembly composer to get rid of any kind of repetition in your projects. So it's not lacking. It's still lacking some features. I heard it's not as great as the Revit Dynamo. So, but it is pretty new. So. But grading, back to the grading, I mean, when you're doing on commercial or subdivision, one of the key things you got to look at other than utilities is, you got the drainage, of course, your retention. When you're calculating your retention is your earthwork. That's going to cost you money for the client, and you got to balance that out, Um, and just because you built a proposed surface doesn't mean that's the number you should be using. You shouldn't be using just the proposed surface to calculate your earthwork numbers. You got to take out the select field going for your building. You got to select out the concrete pavement. You should be calculating that in your earthwork construction cost when you're balancing your cert. If you do trenching, you got big 16-inch storm pipes, you should be taking that into account if you got long sections of that. So that's a lot of things you got to think about when you're doing earthwork. So if not, you could cost a client, $10,000 or more if he doesn't have that in the budget. So, and then looking at your geotech, you got to look at the geotech and seeing what that compaction factor is on there. That way you can put it on your analysis tool for your surfaces and fill factor and putting that 1.1 or 1.15. And so that you'll see the numbers change. So that's important when you're doing earthwork is that fill factor. So just remember that. That's a tips for people that do grading. So, and then taking out the pavement. So usually I'll just take, if I'm doing pavement earthwork number, I'll just take that gutter line, feature line, and drop it, whatever the thickness of the pavement. So, um, and then, yeah. So community conversation for Dynamo tomorrow. Okay, cool. Um, yeah. For those that, coordinate with their clients or your PM doesn't have AutoCAD, yeah, that share button in Civil 3D or AutoCAD is pretty cool because I'll share that sometimes with my client, and I will use the. Sorry, let me go look for it real quick. Um, I'll put uh, where is it? Collaborate. Yeah, there we go. Do the share views. I think those are pretty cool. Doing the share views, sharing with your client, and then they open up in the Autodesk Viewer online. It's a pretty cool little feature. I do enjoy using that with clients that doesn't have Autodesk products. So you can share that kind of stuff with them. So, um, so I do that sometimes. I'm doing some grading, and he wants to look at it um, to see what's going on. I'll use that share view. So. Um, So what is everybody else working on right now? Type of projects? Um, and if you don't know, I used to write articles for the Augie World magazine. If you've never seen it, go to the Augie website and go to Augie World. Great magazine where you can get tips and tricks on multiple platforms. You got some good content writers on there that write articles on Autodesk products. Now it's open to other products, um, from Bentley to Esri to Transoft Solutions to other third party software so out there. So it's kind of opened up now. So now that they're kind of separate from Autodesk, so go check it out. So working on some subdivisions. So subdivisions, is probably my specialties. I've done a lot of subdivisions, um, and I think they're so much easier to do because it's just you as the engineering team. You're not doing hardly a big coordination like with the architects, MEP, structural, landscaping department. It's just you. You run the whole project. And when you do it like apartments, when I've done like a 28 building apartment projects, and there's just constant back and forth with the architect. Oh, let me change the building. Let me shift the building. Let me change the shape of the building. Let's, you know, and then landscape gets involved. Like, hey, we got to do this, and MEP, you're coordinating with the connection of the utilities. They want to change the riser room or something, So it's a lot of coordination when you do apartments. That's why I love subdivision. It's just you and you're just going. You might coordinate with the the client, the home builder, where they're giving you restrictions on the grading, like Toll Brothers and DR Horton, those big ones. Some of these have like restrictions on the back of the grading. So a good example is they might say, hey, the first 20 feet behind the house, it has to be 2%. And after that, you can go up to or go down to 4 to 1, and that's it. And they don't want anything steeper than that. Um, but most home builders like to do subdivision. They'll have some kind of grading criteria. Say, hey, the side slopes can't be more than such and such. Front yard can't be flatter than 2% or 5. Yeah, every kind of home builder has something like that. So in the subdivisions, you're just looking at your road slopes. Um, yeah, yeah. The road slopes on subdivisions, and checking out how much water you got going on your road to calculate your curb inlets, size in your curb inlets. What is your sheet coverage, water, I guess what water coverage on the street. So you've got all this water runoff, how much of that is taken up on your street. So every city has a restriction that you can only, take up the water depth can only be so much in width in your road. So, and you're also looking at your earthwork and your subdivision. So subdivision I can usually knock out pretty quick. I can visualize it in my head. Uh, I know some engineering companies won't believe me when I say this, but I've actually done a 174 lot subdivision in 2 weeks, completely grading, drainage, storm systems, storm hydraulics, storm profiles. Even the laterals were profiled. It was, I don't know if it was 100 sheets or something, but I did it in 2 weeks. So it is possible because I was using my template, and that's the only way. If you got the design experience in subdivisions, you've got a good set of templates, a good workflow, then you can knock it out. But I spent like 70 hours both weeks trying to get this done. And I got it done. I got a 90, probably 90, 95% set it done. It's never 100% because you're going to have a few comments back from the city, but I was able to do it in 2 weeks. I just jumped in, and luckily they at least had the plat done. So that's the only thing I didn't do, and I can't do. I did platting. I did a lot of subdivision layouts and stuff. So at least they had that done. That can go and start doing the street profiling. And so there was a lot of cul-de-sacs, a lot of knuckles, a lot of alleys. So it wasn't just one type of road. It was multiple size roads and stuff. So the only thing I didn't have to do was detention because there wasn't no detention. So, detention takes a little bit longer too. Maybe 2 days to do all your detention analysis. And so, because that would affect my cut field dirt number to detention. So, but I've done a lot of subdivisions, small ones to big ones. So I like doing subdivisions. They're so simple, and I got a good workflow for earthwork calculations. So, um, and so I do enjoy doing subdivisions. Warehouses, I've done warehouse projects, school projects. School projects also a lot of coordination. Yeah, so project has a lot of coordination. If you're doing public or private, I've done charter schools too, so those were fun because you're analyzing car stacking within the site, but you're also looking at the fire lanes. If a fire truck has to come in here and it's 4 o'clock and all these cars are stacked in your site, you got to make sure that he can get to the building. So, um, but yeah, I mean, it's just that's what makes engineering so fun. It's every project is very unique and a challenge, and that's what makes it fun for me. I enjoy it. So, I just recently did another project. We're just doing some site due diligence, and this property uh, was about 2 acres, but it was dropping 30 feet, and the developer wanted me to see if I can make it work. Yes, I could make it work on a commercial property that's dropping 30 feet, but then you're looking at a lot of retaining walls, and then you're looking at a lot of dirt you got to take out if you're trying to have a flat building. So it was complicated. It took me 2 attempts to try to get it without doing detail sidewalk, grading details of the sidewalk, stuff like that. I'm just focused on the outer limits, the building pad, and the parking. The C. Could I make it work? And so after some coordination with the client, I just told them like it's not worth it because we looked at it. I ran some dirt numbers and it was going to end up with 100 to 200,000 on dirt removal. So it's a lot of fall and 30 feet in just 2 acres property. So it was probably the most challenging site I've dealt with. So I've done some other ones that were uh, bigger and had drainage ditches, but it was just a complete infill. We were able to just infill the whole site. It was a big car dealership. So um, but apartments, that's those are complicated because I've been where the project was 90% and the architect came back and wanted to change the building, and that affects sidewalks and the grading around the site. So, yeah, apartments are complicated. Oil and gas is also a little complicated with the grading. If you ever done a gas project, it's usually you're doing grading or surface changing like 4 to 5 times because they have stages in the development of like a gas fracking pad. You're grading it once, then they change the pad, then you got to regrade it. You're stockpiling the dirt because after like the fourth phase, they come back and redo the pad, and you're using that dirt. So there's a lot of grading involved because you're trying to analyzing the different phases and stages of that gas pad. So that one involves a lot of grading if you've never done a gas pad project. So um, and sometimes I don't, if I think I want to change the design, I do a quick save as. I'll say I'm grading, and I was like, you know what, I have a new concept, and I'll say grading two. That way, I can stick to the original one, can be saved, and I'll just keep changing the grading if I have a new idea. So, um, but does anybody do airport projects? I think those are. I've never done an airport project, but that kind of be simple. But it's just the access roads going to the pads, and um, you're probably just calculating the runoff and figuring out the size of your inlets and in your hydraulics. Um, if you're spot grading all the concrete pads corners, like a typical companies that do pads and then gas stations, my app takes care of that. Where you can actually just highlight everything and be done spot grading with a couple clicks. So, um, but yeah, yeah, it seems like it's pretty simple. I had a client they were an international client, and they do uh, airport projects, and I'm like, yeah, those are probably less than 1% grade, or at the most, or two at the most, um, and you're just making sure you got the right runoff. So, and I've done um, gas station projects way back. That was kind of my first few projects I did when I got out of the military. And so when they do gasway projects, they do concrete pads, and those clients wanted every pad corner spot graded. I mean, to detail, So that was interesting. Um, is the spot grading on a gas project. Um, I've done like a water recycling pipeline. It was like a mile or two long. Those are pretty simple. Um, and then let's see what else kind of project. I haven't done any road and highway projects. Not that I can't. Here in Texas, I'm in Texas. You know, they want it in Bentley, and so I don't use Bentley products. And TxDOT probably doesn't know a lot of the Texas engineering firms do it in Civil 3D and just push it to Bentley and then submit it. So, because they realize they're starting to realize that they can do it faster in Civil 3D. And that's what Caltran is doing. Caltran is converted to Civil 3D, but they were doing all their profiling, corridor, and air the design in Civil 3D, and they would push it to Bentley and then submit it to the county or the transportation department as a Bentley submittal, CAD file and PDFs. But 85% of the design was being done in Civil 3D. So why stick to one where you just, so Bentley's crash shitty. That's funny. So yeah. Um, the only thing I have used Bentley products like the macro station way back when I was in the military. I used it a couple times. I've used the Bentley Site Up. It's been renamed to Site Design, or I don't know what's called now, but I did have a license for a while. But the Bentley Site Ups tool was pretty cool for when you're doing some simple sites. You can want to lay out the parking lot or a simple subdivision. The Site Up tool is pretty cool. Oh, river crossing. Oh, a huge bluffs. Yeah, that can make it challenging. Yep, yep. Big water projects. Yep. Um, other projects. Let me see what other project I've probably not done. Um, there's some oil and gas, like down in Houston. They got some particular interesting oil and gas projects. I haven't done any of those. I've assisted on creating templates to help them with some grading, some pads, and stuff like that. Um, but yeah. Migrating station, not micro station. That's hilarious. Bridge projects, I haven't never done that. I don't know if you just do all that with the profile of civil and then push it to Revit to do because I know Revit has a structural tool. And you do all your analysis in Revit, I'm assuming. So I know InfoWorks has a great bridge tools, like a preliminary design for all your bridges. And then there's an export tool when you take it right into Revit, finalize it, and bring it back in. So I do like that workflow. And then there's other third-party companies, TransOff Solution, which is their main biggest flagship. Sorry, my nose is itching. Is MicroStation. I'm sorry, AutoTurn, and I've used AutoTurn for like 10 years before I switched over to vehicle tracking. Nothing wrong with the product, but I just wanted to stick to one software. I didn't have to take care of different licensing. But they got some. That was a great software. Me personally, I think AutoTurn is more user friendly than vehicle tracking. But vehicle tracking has more stuff you can do with more features and tools and the parking layout tools and the airport and stuff like that. Um, and so, but TransOff Solution does have the Taurus, the intersection tool is like another add-in. So other products that can do the same thing. But yeah, for many years I used AutoTurn. That's owned by TransOff Solutions. So, and on the serving side, one of my companies used Carlson. That's pretty popular. They use the equipment like Trimble. Some companies use Trimble. Some use Micro CAD survey or Micro Systems that does surveying. Some kind of micro something does surveying. So and then I've been helping some other clients using Civil 3D, setting up their templates, use Civil 3D for all their survey, bringing in all the survey data, line work, and Cocoa points. Vehicle tracking. You can try LinkedIn and see if, I have two courses on LinkedIn. I was going to do a course for LinkedIn on vehicle tracking, but not to bash LinkedIn, but they're the ones that make all the money. We don't make that much money, royalty money on it. So I'm working on my own platform, learn vehicle tracking. If you want to do some training, I could set you up. We can schedule some training, but you can look at first to save money. You can try to look and see if there's a vehicle tracking course. The only thing about online e-learning, you can post questions. You don't have that quick interaction with the instructor. So you may not get an answer that day. It might be next week or something. That's the only difference about just watching a video. You can't sit there and interact with the client, with the instructor. So, but I can help you with that if you're looking for vehicle tracking training. I do use vehicle tracking on it. So yeah, yeah. Carlson Civil 3D is very popular. I think it's a great, like a little add-on that sits on top of Civil 3D. So yeah, yeah. Uh, I've heard great things about Carlson. So um, and there's a few other ones out there. Now, Carlson, people don't know that Carlson actually has a Civil 3D software. I never used it, but they actually have a hydraulic software, Civil 3D package software. So um, I think David is one of the main contact or the owner over there at Carlson. So I've known David for a few years. Um, but um, Esri, I only use Esri for GIS stuff. I've never used all the other products they have, but they're the leading software in GIS, so it makes sense for Autodesk to coordinate with them and do stuff together. So, but I don't know if anybody ever goes to those Bentley big conference, just like AU. Bentley's got their own version. I think it's San Diego. Is it? Correct me if I'm wrong. Bentley has their yearly. I think they just recently had one. I think did they? Um, so Bentley has those big conferences and stuff. So um, look at this. But yeah, Sid just hit me up on the MeWe, and I can set you up if you are interested for training on vehicle tracking. So, 'cause I do AutoCAD, vehicle tracking, Civil 3D, InfoWorks. I don't know about Recap yet. There's not a whole lot there, so, and I don't do a lot of point cloud projects. So most of my clients are not doing point cloud. I think the bigger clouds, bigger projects they're using point cloud stuff. So I actually one of my clients right now are using a lot of point cloud with drones and taking that data and putting into their own. They have another third party software that's handling all their point cloud data, and then they'll bring it into Civil 3D. So I think it was some kind of Trimble software or something else that they were doing. So they had those huge LiDAR scanning drones. That's one of my clients. So uh, yeah, let me know if y'all like this or y'all like to do a live Zoom. That way we can all turn our cameras on. That's up to you. I'm just testing this out. I think I like the Zoom better because then I can see everybody and then, we can interact better. I can hear y'all. Here, y'all can't really hear y'all. So it's just me reading the chat. And so the people like Michelle do in your company, when you do support, do people just email you or there's like a ticket system set up, like to track the support tickets and stuff? I like one of my companies I used to work for, we just use Teams, and that's when they had a text question, they would use Teams, not email me. It was just kind of blend in with all the emails that was coming in. So they'd use Microsoft Team and Bing me. That way I can also keep track of all the tickets that came in. So yeah. And feel free to share, this live streaming on your social media with all your groups. The more people, the better. It makes it more fun, more interesting. If we have more users online, I did post on LinkedIn, but everybody could. It was like last minute, so everybody could be at lunch. So only the people on the MeWe platform really knew that this was coming because it was on the calendar. So, um, um, oh, so they got rid of. I've heard of Help Desk. Yeah, so I've heard of that software or add-in or app. So yeah, somebody was telling me about that. So Solar wind tickets? Huh, okay. Oh, help desk, okay. And people don't know I used to do IT. The first company I was at, I was like the in-house IT guy doing the backups, doing the software install, tech support. I was going to SMU sister branch in San Antonio, doing my networking certification through SMU. That cost me a lot of money, but doing PC repair, which is a CompTIA plus plus and CompTIA Network plus plus, and then the Microsoft MCSE. So that was my backup plan. So I did have a little experience doing networking. I just never finished the test because I ran out of money from the Air Force because it was so costly. It was $10,000 to do this course for 6 months, and then and that wasn't the whole course for MCSC. So I didn't want to use it all up just for the certification, so I stopped. And at that time, MCSE was 7 certification exams you got to pass, and I passed. I don't know if it was 3 or 4. I didn't finish taking another 3 to get certified, and that was going to be my backup plan. If I didn't like engineering, is to go to networking. So and it's always good to have a backup plan. That was just my personal opinion, but yeah, that was it was fun, going there and class and learn about hardware and then networking, a little bit of cybersecurity, a little bit. So at the time, this is 2002, I think, at the time when I was taking the classes. So, and then later on, I was going to San Antonio College. So it was really weird because when I was going to San Antonio College, it felt like a high school. I don't know why. So it literally felt like I was going to high school there. So, um, but um, is anybody using Volt uh, online? Anybody using Microsoft Volt? One of my companies when I moved to Dallas was using in 2006 was using Microsoft Vault, not Microsoft Autodesk Vault, and it was a nightmare. There was a lot of issues and the checking in, checking out, and I think the company stopped using it, but I don't know, it left a really bad taste. So 2006 to 2009, Autodesk Vault left a really bad taste. And I've told Autodesk that to a lot of the clients and not clients, but just engineering firms. And that's why they stopped using it, and they haven't been back since. So I have yet to run into a company, maybe one company of all the last 10 years that is using Microsoft Vault. And I know they push that and advertise that so hard, really hard. I don't see advertising that much now for Vault. Now I don't know what I would consider their flagship right now, but um, I would say, Inventor or no, Fusion is something they've been pushing the last 2 years. Just Fusion, Fusion, Fusion. So um, I did notice today I went to the licensing and to buy a license AEC is $3,350. 2 years ago it was like 26. I just keep raising the rates, keep raising the rates, man. Eventually it's going to be 5 grand. Yeah, it's the price is just keep going up. And and by the way, I don't know if anybody's done the Autodesk. Was it the grading optimizer? Optimizer. Optima. Um, I don't know if y'all had an opportunity to play with that, the Autodesk grading optimization tool. Yeah, I was on the beta, using that, getting a lot of feedback. Feel free to test it out. Go on the website and I think you can download a 30-day trial. I think I'll hold off on my opinions about it. So I want to test more of it before I give my opinion. So because I tested it a long time ago and I haven't tested it since. Uh, yeah, I need a grading file. So, um, but yeah, I want to continue testing before I kind of give my opinion on the software. Because I was doing testing way back when it was like the first release, beta release, and the second beta release, and so it's been a good probably year since I've gone back in there before they released it to the public to play with it, so and test it out. Uh, so uh, most of the projects I work on are not simply cookie cutter parking lots where it's easy. I got a lot of grading restriction issues on the site. It's not like a Walmart parking lot. It's nice and flat and everything. So most of mine are always challenging my project sites. Oh yeah, wasn't all impressed. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've been asking Autodesk. I want more features in Civil 3D for grading, like site grading tools. That's what I've been pushing for the last 7 years, but they really haven't listened to me. Um, I was chatting with Todd the other day, and I just wish that InfoWorks had more, or actually had more or better animation tools built in for like cars and people walking around. So that'd be really cool. A simple little tool that can do that stuff. So when we create those storyboards, it'd be really nice. So, um, and just slightly better. We need some better rendering tools in there too to make it a little more realistic. It's still a little cartoonish, but it gets the idea out to your city council and city zoning meeting if you're using those models. Helio would probably made it work more if it should have. Yeah, yeah. If you got a nice flat parking lot, then maybe that grading optimization tool will work better. But if you got a challenging site where, like mine, was dropping 15 feet on another project, you're dealing with retaining walls and stuff like that. So and a lot of grade breaks and stuff. So very unique parking situation. So I just don't think it can handle that yet. So unless we give more feedback. So now I think I posted on my WeChat the other night. I was just sitting there playing around the software. And a lot of people don't know that there's like hundreds of preset blocks and a few walls and swells to deal with. Yeah, um, preset 3D blocks in Civil, like AutoCAD Civil 3D. Go to a palettes, you right click on the side of it and you say all palettes, and then you select like landscaping and I forgot what the other one was, custom. There's a whole bunch of 3D parts in there, cars, like benches, fire hydrants. People don't know that they're all there. Even electrical blocks, architectural like detail leaders. There's actually like doors, dynamic doors where you can just have a pull down or grab and grip. There's so many blocks in there people don't realize they're there and that you can use and then just modify to what you need. So I use a few of those blocks in there. So, um, there's even like house pads where you can probably go in there and modify it and update it and leave it in your tool palettes. So, definitely check it out, your tool palettes, because there is a lot of 3D blocks in there pre-made for you. And then you can probably, I haven't tested it. I'm going to be curious. I might do it this week. Add all these like houses and signs and fire hydrants and benches, and then push it out to InfoWorks and see how it handles the rendering of it. So I am kind of curious. So um, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'll let you know how it goes. Yeah. And what would y'all say it's the one thing that takes the longest? Oh, project. Oh, that's great. Great potential. The project score. During my event during AU, my user group, I'm going to do a class on Project Explorer. I do see the great potentials of it. I've been playing with it, where you can make some simple edits to the corridor, the subassembly, the profile, design profile, push out reports. Yeah, I can definitely see the benefit on that one. That one I like better than the grading optimization tool. I do like the Project Explorer. That was pretty cool. So um, yeah, yeah, that's something to really look into when you're doing corridors for roads and stuff. Um, yep. So I'm going to do a class on that. So good question. Yep, yep. Yeah, exactly, not to help you, exactly, and you can still pan around. That's nothing's more annoying to be in the quarter properties, and then you can't pan or zoom around because you got that box open. Like that's annoying. So I'm like, let me zoom in. I'm like, dang it, I can't. I got to close the corridor property, or use a selection tool, like you're going to select something, and then zoom in and then exit out back to the dialog box. So, but no, that's a good point. So, yeah. Um, we got some ideas. Are going to be releasing, hopefully, maybe next year, some cool apps to deal with some corridors. Um, we have another one. Hopefully, maybe in November, December, we can release this other big one we've been working on dealing with grading. Some grading tool features we got coming out. So through CivilCAD Learning Solutions. So, um, hey, Kayla, you still there? Oh, okay. Just checking. Now, let me know if what y'all think. If y'all want to think I should just do the live streaming, or like just post a link on our user group for Zoom. That way, I can see everybody and we can all interact. This is only my second time doing the live streaming, so it's just a little different because it's just you talking. I can't hear y'all or see y'all compared to a Zoom or even Microsoft Team, and you do a group chat or something. So, and depends how all this goes. Just let me know if you want to do. So you're on 2020. Yeah, I sometimes I don't pay attention. I just click it on whatever icon because it's all backwards compatible. So sometimes I'm in 2020, sometimes I'm in 22 or 21. This gaming station I'm on, I think it has up to um, there's 20, there's 18. It's 2017 on this computer, but I also have another laptop that goes as far back as 16. Um, so yeah, you got because I do tech support. Anything beyond that becomes a little difficult. So to do beyond 16, not that I don't turn it down. So, um, but I think I saw a post the other night on the forum that they were asking about 2008 version of AutoCAD or Civil 3, and like what? I think it was AutoCAD. I'm like, what? But I did have a client one time that was trying to upgrade from 2009 AutoCAD to 2022, but the client wanted to keep the old classic toolbars and get rid of the ribbon. It's like, okay. So he had a system down he didn't want to change, so 2000 on the post. And then one of my clients called me up for support for 2009. 2009 was the last year of the old classic toolbars. And 2010 is when they introduced a ribbon to a lot of the platforms like Civil 3D, AutoCAD. So that's true. Yeah, you can share your screen. Yeah, you too. I think I just Googled it. It says you have to like download or install a third party app to do screen sharing. And so, yeah, that's a good point. So, um, I've been blasting MeWe and said, "Hey, we need live streaming. We need live streaming. Live streaming, or give me group chat, video chat." So tonight I'm actually going to be interviewing another expert lead, through my expert lead video podcast. So I'm kind of backed up. I got three recorded. I need to finish doing the edits and release it. I'm going to release one every month um, right now. But I just finished up Steve Hill's editing tonight. It's going to be released next week. And then I have two other expert leads I've recorded. I'm going to have another one tonight. So yeah, I got quite a few kind of backlog now, and three other ones I need to schedule for expert leads. So Yeah, the only benefits about YouTube is, yeah, you can it doesn't have a size limit, my understanding. So yeah, you can upload like the 1080p, 4K videos, and I think that's kind of the perk about YouTube. It's not the live streaming, but uploading videos that large. Other platforms, it's hard for you to upload something that's an hour long in 4K. They will downsize it. That's the thing about MeWe. When I upload a video, there is a size limit, so they wouldn't let me upload a video that's 30 minutes long in 1080p. I record things in 1080p, but on the MeWe platform, I've been kind of giving a lot of feedback to them. Like, hey, I need to be able to record something 1080p. At least give me a 15-minute video I can upload. So what they're doing right now is downsizing my resolution when I upload on MeWe to like 720, the next one down, and the largest I can do is 200 megabytes. So on the video. So now what I do is just upload to YouTube on the YouTube user group platform, like the CivilCAD, and then just create a link on MeWe so you can just see it from there. So I know that on the YouTube channel, if you look on the YouTube channel, that the views are low. The reason they're low because when I post a video like on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is where I get all the views. I can get 2,000 views on LinkedIn when I post like a hyperlink on LinkedIn, but those views don't carry over back to YouTube, and that's kind of a flaw right now. There's no way I can. I've been looking, so some videos get like 2,000 views on the video I uploaded on YouTube because people are watching it through LinkedIn. So when I post a link on LinkedIn of a YouTube video, you can actually see it on LinkedIn. You can watch it on LinkedIn, but none of those views carry over. So. Yeah, that's the only thing I don't like. So, is a lot of videos don't carry over. And we got several videos that's in the thousands, and they don't carry over YouTube. So you look at the same video, it's like 50 views on YouTube. Like, there's 2,000 some hundred on LinkedIn, the same video. So, all right, I'll talk to you later, Michelle. I know you got to go get back to work, answer questions, and helping people. So, yeah, next time I'll post another one. Next time I'm going to try to do a Zoom meeting, the meeting that I can see everybody's faces and stuff. So later. But I'm gonna get off too. I think I only scheduled for an hour, but I want to thank y'all for attending. Also, Kayla and Sid and Michelle, and there was somebody else online too, I think. Um, but I appreciate y'all coming in, and checking it out. The whole goal is to network, and you can ask me questions. Like people were asking about the other software and stuff. So um, definitely. So I'll try to do another one maybe next week. Um, I'm trying to pick a good day. Lunch is the only time. If I do it during between 8 and 11, no one's going to watch because they're working, or between 1 and 5 because they're working. So it's either like late after 6 p.m., but everybody's going to be home with their kids or family, or I do it late at night, like when you're in bed and it's 8 o'clock. I can do like a cat after dark, like I usually do, or I do it during lunch. So I just got to figure it out. But I want to thank everyone for watching, and be sure to share the platform with your coworkers, the MeWe and everything. Definitely share with your coworkers. Definitely share on your social media platform. The more people we have, the more people interacting on the MeWe platform, the better it is. More interaction is always better. Um, if I'm the only one talking, it's not that fun. So definitely post questions. Maybe you have a simple tip like, hey, I learned how to do this. Feel free to post on our platform, MeWe platform. So um, um, just remember, if you're going to post something, you got to hit the group button up top, then hit the DFW user group on the left. Then you can post. Don't be on the home tab and hit the post button, because that's going to post to the open public MeWe platform. All right. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you later, and y'all have a good week. Talk to you later. Bye.